Good morning, traders. Happy Monday, and welcome back to another episode of the Trader Bacon Show. I'm your host, Gates Adams, aka the Forged Trader, and I've got a fun and exciting show for you guys today as we start rounding out 2025 and start preparing for 2026. I hope your trading has been solid and you're keeping it green, but obviously trading is such that we all know we're going to go through ups and downs. This is something that I forgot recently, and I've had a little bit of a struggle. I've had a really rough couple of weeks. I'm not going to actually say how many PAs I have blown in the course of the last 2 weeks, but I'm back into the right mindset and building up my resilience as I get back into the paid side of things, hopefully here in a relatively short order. This comes on the heels of my biggest payout ever. I know you guys like to know sort of what's going on with the people that you watch on here. So I've been trying to get content out. It's been a little bit rough lately in terms of time and attention, but I am trying to get there. I do promise. I promise. I'm not going to make any specific promises as when to anything because that keeps biting me in the tail. So all of that said, we are back with a new episode of the Trader Bacon Show. We're going to have some fun today. First and foremost, I want to remind you guys we are giving away 3 Apex Trader Funding evaluations over the course of this show. You will see the form in the chat, so make sure to fill that out so that you can take advantage of that. Of course, I want to recognize and congratulate last week's winners, Marty, Patrick, and Gerald. Congratulations to you guys. You guys should have already received all the information there. And, of course, we will be announcing this week's winners on next week's episode. Hopefully, that's you. Just make sure to fill out that form. Also, of course, want to let you guys know right now, Apex Trader Funding, everybody's favorite sale, 90% off. Any size evaluation. In fact, they've actually standardized the pricing across the board for all evaluations. Let's call it 196. So any evaluation, any size right now is $19.60. Just make sure to use promo code Benzinga. That will get you the lowest price available. In addition to this, there's also a promotion, especially on the smaller accounts, the 25K, the 50K, and the 100K. All have a $65 activation fee, so a little better than half price activation fee. The 150, 250, and 300 have $125 activation fee, so still discounted, just not as cheap as the little guys. Make sure to use that accordingly. This ends tomorrow at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time, so make sure to take full advantage. And remember, evaluations have to be activated before 11:59 to get the lifetime activation discount. So make sure to take full advantage of that over the course of today and tomorrow, as again we start winding down the rest of the year with what probably is the last 90% promo of the year. Now, as we get into today's show, I've got Jiva. Now, Jiva actually shared a story with me right before we started, and I want to share it with you guys because I don't know if you've ever watched this show or any other sort of trading content and thought, I'd really like to be in that guy's shoes. Jiva was telling me that he was watching one of the episodes a few months back and thought, hey, I just can't wait till the day where I get the call and I have the opportunity to be on the show. And it hasn't been that long, I think maybe 3 or 4 months max. And here he is, in fact, on the show today. So please welcome with me today, Jiva, on today's episode of the Trader Bacon Show. Welcome to the Trader Bacon Show, where we showcase everyday traders that are getting funded, paid, and bringing home the bacon. Are you ready? Because the Trader Bacon Show starts right now. Jiva, good morning, man. How are you?
Good morning, Gates. I'm good. Yep.
Awesome. How long ago was that you were watching the Trader Bacon Show and thought, hey, I want to be in the hot seat?
It's around like 4 to 5 months ago. It is
4 to 5 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And here you are. How does it feel now, actually living that wish?
Yeah, pretty much great, you can say,
Yeah.
because at that time I was watching that, and it feels like maybe one day I could reach there, and now I'm here.
I mean, and this is really what trading is. I mean, we all go through the journey. It's not easy, and it takes longer than we hope it will, and we wish it will, and but for those of us that stick it out, for those of us that are committed to the process, that the opportunity to get there is always. We don't know when it's going to happen, but when it happens, it usually happens pretty big. And I know that was definitely an exciting scenario for you. Now, let's talk a little bit about your trading journey. How did you actually get into trading in the first place?
Yeah, for my trading journey, like it started around like beginning or mid 2020, I can say, around the
Okay.
start of the COVID period. It
Sure.
is actually I was doing my undergraduation at the time,
Mhm.
and where I started with my like I used to start with the Indian markets at the time,
Mhm.
and from then I learned some basics, and then after a certain period of time, I moved to crypto futures,
Okay.
and I have traded for a while in crypto futures then, and after that you can say pretty much since 2 years 2024 beginning I can say
Mhm.
as I started looking into the Nasdaq futures from then,
Sure.
and later on after watching the Nasdaq futures, then pretty much 3 to 4 months after that, like I got to know there is a space called Profum space where we can,
Right.
yeah, yeah. From that point of time onwards, like I was onto this Nasdaq. I'm sticking into it, following my rules, and finally I'm here.
Following the rules, of course, that's one of the key components to success in trading.
Yeah,
Now, at one point,
yeah.
you made the transition to futures. What was it about futures that was appealing to you that made you make that transition?
Like basically, as when it compared to forex markets,
Mhm.
basically where the slippage difference is very huge, I can say.
Yeah.
And this in futures will be like there will be small commissions that will be cut for a transaction. That thing like got me into this basically. I can say it's
Okay.
pretty much simple. I can say
It is. Of course,
if
options
you are
traders
used
love it
to
because
it,
you don't have to deal with the
yeah. If you
Greeks,
are
right? You're not
yeah.
dealing with these massive moves that you see in crypto that can sometimes, oh, there she is. We were hoping she would chime in, but here
Yeah,
she is.
yeah,
This is
yeah.
Trinity. We'll call her the trade dog for today, right? Trinity, the trade dog.
Yeah.
Uh, but okay, hang on. So the simplicity of futures, I don't know. There's certainly always been appealing to me as we hang on, as we and we don't have to deal with it. Like I said, we don't have to deal with the Greeks. We don't have to try to find the leverage like we would with stocks and things like that. So
Yeah,
it is a pretty natural market to gravitate towards. And as you mentioned, there's less kind of garbage, I think, in the pricing than there is in the FX markets. So
yeah.
how did you ultimately learn your strategy in futures? What was it that like, did you use stuff that you were using in other markets, or did you learn fresh for futures?
Like basically at the start of my trading journey, like pretty much simple. It is like standard classic support and resistance. I used to
Mhm.
trade at the time, and when I started Nasdaq futures, it is like I totally shifted to like I used to watch ICT
Mhm.
concepts then
Sure.
at that time, and from then I used to apply these ICT concepts to the Nasdaq futures.
Mhm.
Yeah, pretty much it.
Now, did you go through one of the full mentorships, or is that still the foundation of your trading, or have you
Uh,
shifted basically based on what you've learned along the way?
um, the first thing that got me here, like ICT 2022 mentorship,
Mhm.
that I used to it, like it was pretty much simple compared to all mentorships, I can say.
Mhm.
And from that, I used to observe, like I used to backtest the data
Yeah.
with that strategy and all, and pretty much some things I have observed in that, like I have refined some of the things from that, you can say,
Mhm.
which finally like I you can say that I made a strategy based on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's so you're not taking the full scope, and this is what I find with a lot of ICT traders is you don't take the full scope of everything ICT says. You pick that one component that makes sense
Mm.
to you and work for you. Is that pretty fair with how you're trading these days?
Yeah, we can say that because like after continuous observation into the markets for a while, you'll get to a point where you can observe certain things.
Hmm.
Like based on that, you can put some rules and you can observe some things, which finally leads to making a strategy, we can say.
Sure.
Yeah. From
Okay.
that, from that, basically we need to follow the rules and we need to observe the markets continuously,
Yeah.
then only we will be like we need to be consistent and disciplined.
Sure. And
Yeah.
I think that's the key component. And everybody is aware of this, and everybody struggles with it at some point in their trading journey. For you, what was the
Yeah.
biggest challenge that got you that you had to get over in order to get to where you are now as a more successful trader?
Like one thing I can say definitely for sure, which is the over trading. Like
Mhm.
if I get a loss at a point of time, then I used to like immediately I would take a trade, revenge trade, you can say, and
Yeah,
actually I will blow my account at the same day. I can say it
we
has
have.
taken me much time to overcome that point. I can say,
Was there something specific that you did? Because this is such a common problem in trade. And like
yeah,
I said,
common problem. I can say, but
what did you do
one
to overcome this?
one thing I observed, like every week I used to journal the things. Like
Mhm.
at the weekend time, I used to observe every days of the week, everyday movement, and the how the actually strategy works, and
Mhm.
what I did in the markets at that time. And if I observe that, I clearly seen the I was doing completely wrong. The
Mhm.
strategy is working correctly, but my mind is not working correctly at that point of time. I can say
Gotcha.
so due to that, like I tried for a while, like to overcome that. After journaling everything, I came to know that every mistake that I'm making today is pushing me behind 2 steps. Because
Yeah.
I can say, like, if I get like around, if I today I get my TP,
Mhm.
then tomorrow, if I used to get an SL, if I try to overcome that, like you try to recover that SL and do over trading, I would
Mhm.
be losing entire profits of today's and like overall profits, and I will be going to my drawdown, overall drawdown.
For sure.
So one thing I observed that, and slowly I used to like step by step I used to manage those things,
Mhm.
and it's not a one day process. I can say,
It's not. For sure.
yeah,
Well, and
because
I think that that's such an important insight, and thank you for sharing that because I think I know for me, I ultimately had to face the fact that I interviewed successful traders every day, and at the time I was not a successful trader. And when it came down to the one big difference between what they were telling me on the show and what I was not doing in real life was really the successful traders are the ones that do the things that other traders are unwilling to do. Taking the time to do the journaling, review your trades, review your stats and things like that. And for everybody, it's different. It's not necessarily the same path, but for everybody, there's one component that becomes meaningful, and it's like, okay, something has clicked now, and now we're moving forward. I still struggle with some of the disciplines of being a trader outside of the charts, but little by little, I've gotten better, and my results have certainly shown it. And I know that obviously that's the same thing with you. So I want to applaud you on that, and I just want to highlight that statement for everybody watching because you want to be what most traders aren't. Do what most traders aren't willing to do, and that's I hate to oversimplify it, but that's not too far from the absolute truth. So anyway,
yeah,
I appreciate you sharing that. So let's talk a little bit about strategy and ultimately what it is that you have developed into in terms of your trading strategy. So we can go and pull up the charts and take a look at what it is that has brought you the level of success that you've achieved over the last few months.
yep, sure.
And that chart should be coming up here right quick.
Uh, yeah,
There we go.
okay,
Okay, fire away. So
yeah,
what are we looking at? What is the
yeah,
market read to
yeah.
you?
Like at I used to look at the markets. Like I'll be coming into the markets prior 9:30 New York
Mhm.
opening, and from the 15 minutes I'll be looking into the markets at the start. See, if you see here before 9:30 a.m. opening, I used to mark the levels. We can say Asian high, Asian lows, or like the key buy side and sell side levels that I
Sure.
was interested on. That the basic thing that first I do before starting it, and from there after that I will be shifting to the 5 minutes,
Hmm.
and sometimes. there might be the levels that I will be marking will be the most of the levels will be in the equal lows or
Mhm.
it is a low which have an inefficiency here, like we can say FEG here. I will be
Right.
marking that lows with along with that low we will be existing any FEG,
Hmm.
and this high also exists, and above this high we have an inefficiency here, so I'll be
Hmm.
marking this high. So that
Right.
is the first thing, and most of the thing that I will be doing from the 1 minute itself,
Okay.
I can say. And after the market opening, I will be looking into the like the first presented FEG that will be forming after the 9:30 a.m. opening. So I
Okay.
will be highlighting that, like if you can see at 9:33 a.m. we have an FEG first presented FEG, I can say.
Right.
So I will be extending this. Maybe I can use it later as well.
Hmm.
And first step of this is marking the levels first, and then we need to have the first presented FEG post 9:30 a.m. opening.
Hmm.
And after this, I will be waiting till the market reaches this FEG. This is
Right.
another step. So after reaching this step, overall, I sorry for that. And
That's
after marking this level, then I usually like here basically we have two things. One thing I will be looking at is below this first presented FEG, I will be looking into cells, no matter what the structure would be. I wasn't worried about any kind of structures and all. If the
hmm.
market is below this first presented FEG, I will be looking into cells. If the
You'll
market
be
is
looking
above
into
this,
what?
I will be looking for cells.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so you're directional based on where it
Yeah,
is in relation to that. Okay, gotcha.
yeah. Below this, I will be looking for cells. If the market is above this first presented FEG, I will be looking for buys. And
Gotcha.
from here, I already told you this crucial levels that I marked before the market opening, which are
Mhm.
London lows, Asian lows. We can say these are like pretty much this sell side liquidity is equal, relative equal lows. We can say these lows are equal lows,
Mhm.
pretty much equal, and there is an inefficiency here. So this will be my pretty much first level that I will be targeting as of now. So from here, as it is the downside, like below the first presented FEG, I
Mhm.
will be trying to short if like first we have got the first presented FEG and the market ran into that first presented FEG.
Mhm.
Then the second part of this is after tapping the first presented FEG, I will be hoping to get another FEG. Like if like basically this model is a two FEG model. We
Okay.
need two FEGs that request to trade, and the first
Okay.
FEG is basically the first presented FEG. It will be static, and the
Mhm.
second fair value gap formed after tapping into the first presented FEG. I call it as a recently formed FEG,
Mhm.
and from this FEG, if there is any kind of rejection, like we have a red candle rejection, right?
Right.
After tapping, I can say if you observe here, after market came here and tapped this first presented FEG, and
Mhm.
then after tapping the first presented FEG, I will be waiting for another FEG that
Mhm.
what I call it as a recently formed FEG, and we got this recently formed FEG,
Mhm.
and then I will be also waiting. Market needs to tap this FEG, and I just need a rejection from here. So after this red candle rejection, you can
Mhm.
say pretty much I would have shorted here. You can say,
Okay.
and my ideal stop loss would be like 20 points in the typical market. If the market is not too much range bound, like
Uh-huh.
sometimes these days we are getting like 100 200 points opening ranges, so
Sure.
at that time I would be modifying that. But the simple ideal stop loss would be like 20 points I would be keeping, and
Okay.
the target would be like around 30 to 40 points, depends on my like I would be targeting the nearest liquidity level, or if the nearest liquidity level is around 15 to 20 points, then I would directly go for 30 points, 30
Okay.
to 40 points. And you can see pretty much here, after this rejection candle, I got my TP in pretty much two candles.
That was much faster than mine today. Uh,
Yeah,
so is this the crux of what you're looking for? You're looking for that first 1 minute fair value gap. You're looking
yeah,
for rejection in either direction from that. Obviously, that tells you which direction you're buying or selling,
yep,
and a fair value gap created out of that, and you still
yep,
want that tap into it. So you still want that confirmation tap, and yet
yep,
another rejection. You're seeing a double rejection. So
yep,
just based on what I said, as I'm saying this, I'm saying, well, this sounds like an awful lot of confirmation. Do you
yep.
find that there's a lot of days where your trade doesn't come through, or do you feel like you see this pretty consistently most days?
Uh, Pretty much, I can say if there are some constraints here, I can say because
Mhm,
if there isn't any FVG for the initial 10 to 15 minutes of the market opening, then
mhm.
I would be out for the day because
Okay.
the most likely the market gonna smash my SL on
Mhm,
either sides. If the setup is formed on either sides of the direction, then it definitely will get my SL. That that thing I have refined,
mhm,
so I would be out on that days if the market hasn't formed any kind of FEGs for the initial 10 to 15 minutes.
mhm.
Those days I will be like out from the market.
You're not going to trade those days, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. But short of that, I mean, do you see this setup happening multiple times? Do you see this three to five times a week? I mean, what's normal for you in what you're seeing?
Yeah, if the market is quite simple, like it's if you see today, it's quite directional. I can say
Hmm.
pretty much downside.
Sure.
Similarly, if the market is so directional, then it would be like 3 to 4 days. Definitely, we'll be getting this setup.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean that this looks very clean, very clear, and I think one of the things that really stands out to me again is how much confirmation you have before you take a trade. How does that affect the way you feel when you enter a trade, knowing that you've had double rejections before you take an entry? Is there a calm peace that comes from taking a trade under those conditions that you didn't see before?
Like specifically here, if I want extra confirmation, I
Mhm,
would be seeing it a direction. Like if you see here at the initial 2 to 3 minutes,
mhm.
it got we have the highs here. The market swept these highs at the
Right.
initial, and there is an FVG which inverted it. We can
Mhm,
say the simple 2022 mentorship model, ICT model. You can say
mhm,
liquidity sweep, market structure shift,
mhm.
and the distribution happens here.
Right.
So I had a confirmation here. I think I had an SMT here as well with an ES at this point
Mhm.
of time,
Right.
and I also see these kind of confirmations. Like I also check SMTs if there are any
Mhm.
prior to
Right.
this my entry points.
Mhm.
Like then I can go like pretty much directional to target my levels.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So this obviously has taken a lot of time. You've honed this down to a very specific set of circumstances, which obviously is working for you. What has
Mhm.
shifted for you as a result of being on the other side of the trading success? Now that you've achieved a level of success,
Mhm.
particularly in a country where a little goes a long way, what has changed for you?
Like if I want to say what changed, like trading taught me many things. I can say
Mhm,
like to maintain the discipline, to wait for the to have patience
mhm.
in the things that I was doing. I have learned many things. It taught me in many ways. Yeah, pretty
So,
much.
so like for example, outside of trading, are you noticing that you're more disciplined? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, that's what
How,
I'm
how has
saying.
that impacted you? What's that done for you?
Like before, at a certain point of time, like I I doesn't have any kind of patience. I already told you, right, that if I
Mhm.
take any entries, like if I get any losses, I would randomly rushing the things out and I would blow my accounts.
Right.
Like I
Sure.
doesn't even have patience to hold a trade for a while. So from this I learned many, we can say, like in real life, we can learn many things from trading as well.
I was that guy. my journey took so long, and my audience knows it pretty well, but my journey in trading took so long that
Mhm.
there was a point where it felt impossible. And I was actually just having this conversation this weekend with a buddy of mine. And
Yeah.
when I got that first payout, March of this year, it was one account, it was $500, that was it, right? And that completely changed impossible to possible, right? And
Yeah.
what I have noticed as well is that there's other areas of my life where it's like, if I felt like I couldn't do something, now it's like, well, if I can do what I did in trading, why can't I do this? Do you feel like some of this in other parts of your life?
Yeah, I felt like there are many times it was very mentally tough to wait for things, but
Mhm.
at that point of time, like I used to trade. We have a little group, I can say, like
Mhm.
my brother and my cousin. We used to trade, like we used to share our views in the market prior
Mhm.
market opening. Like it gives us confidence. Like if they are making profits and their entries were hitting the TPs,
Mhm.
and from that I learned many things from them as well. Like it gives us confidence, I can say, because pretty much if you are lonely you can't do pretty it takes much time than you
Yeah.
think if you are alone. Yeah, that thing I can say.
Yeah,
And
it takes longer than you think. Yeah, for sure.
yeah, once after that once after I observed those things, the mistakes, and slowly I tried to rectify those things, and which helped me here finally.
That's awesome. Now, Andre asks in the chat if you do live trading or are you still pro?
I'm still doing prop. I doesn't have that much
I
capital
mean,
to go for a live.
the transition. I mean, with that opportunity intact, it really is. It's tough to justify. I know a lot of people do. Once you hit a certain level, it's like, okay, I'm in. But there's not a lot of incentive to make that transition before you have to, right?
Yeah, it takes a lot of time to take that transition because in your mind you are very much fixed to, if you blew this account, you'll be losing around $100, I can say, how
Yeah,
much you purchase that account, pretty much. But
sure.
in live accounts, it pretty much you'll be like, if you are in a drawdown of 1K, 2K dollars, it will be like, oh,
That's
it's
yeah. I mean, that's your savings. It's a definitely a
yeah,
difference.
pretty
So
difficult to digest those things if
I,
if we are in drawdown.
I know there will come a day for me, and I'm pleased that that day hasn't come yet. But I'm also pleased that I know I'm getting closer to that day because that means that I've grown out of
Yeah,
the
sure,
profit base,
definitely.
which is great, which is it's an accomplishment in and of itself. So I'm not in a
Yeah, sure.
hurry myself,
Yeah, because
and I know the traders
you already had your biggest payout last week, right?
3 weeks ago I had my biggest payout ever.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen that.
And then I had two
Yeah,
terrible, terrible, terrible weeks, and I haven't posted anything on
I,
that, not because I'm hiding from it. I'm
I,
actually
you already told that you blew your 12 accounts.
yeah. All right, I'll
Yeah.
say it. I blew 48 accounts, 48 PAs, not evals, 48 PAs in a course of less than 2 weeks.
Uh,
That was the most. So I went from the biggest payout ever to the most brutal run I have ever had since getting my first payout. I think I've probably had bigger runs, like worse runs than that along the way, but it really was a transition, a psychological shift that came from, I think, getting that big payout and then just reacting to it and having a different mindset going in. So all I've been doing for like the last 5 days is like, okay, I got to go back to basics. I got to go back to basics. What got me here in the first place? And that's sort of been the journey. But well, dude, I am so excited for you, Jiva. To me, I would mention the fact that you said you wanted to be on the show a few months ago, and now you're on the show. To me, that was sort of that humble brag. Like I am super excited to have a platform where someone can just watch and experience people growing in their journey as traders, and then being a part of it. I know for me, the time that I've spent talking to traders over the last 2.5 years is how long the show's been on, has definitely had a very, very significant, meaningful impact on my trading. So I am always so grateful to have conversations like this. And Jiva, thank you so much for sharing your energy, your experience, and your journey along the way. And hopefully this has helped a lot of people sort of start to pinpoint where it is that they need to go next in their journey. I know I certainly picked up several pretty interesting nuggets that I want to take a look at as when I finish the show. I like to take some notes on some key things that I gathered. That's how I managed to move forward. So I'm truly, truly grateful for your time. Thank you for staying up late. I know it's well into the evening, and you even stayed at the office to be able to have a secure connection to do the show. So thank you so much for that. For those of you out there, of course, make sure to fill out the form. We will be giving away 3 Apex Trader funding evaluations from live viewers from the show. So fill out that form. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow, do all of the things that you know you need to do, because you're not going to want to miss another episode. We will be back next week with next week is actually going to be, last month I started a series on turning trading into a business, or treating trading like a business. We had Alon on, and I promise you I'm going to get him on the Forge Trader podcast for a follow-up. But next week, I'm going to have my buddy Jesse. Jesse is a phenomenal trader. He's been on the show a couple of times. He's even been on the podcast before. And he and I have built a relationship around just this friendship. But he's also been a great guide to me in my trading journey, and as he will be for you. So we're going to jump back into that next week, into that series. So make sure you don't miss it. Show up early. Get your notepads ready, because this is going to be a little deeper than the usual Trader Bacon show. But we're going to have a lot of fun with it as well. Thank you all so much for joining us. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Monday. Have a green week. I'll see you guys on the next episode of the Trader Bacon Show. Thanks for joining the Trader Bacon Show, where we showcase everyday traders that are getting funded, paid, and bringing home the bacon. Make sure to join us next time, Mondays at 11 a.m. Eastern.